Pang De, courtesy name Ling Ming, was a military general best known for his bravery, loyalty, and charging into enemy formations. Vanguards were expected to lead cavalry or infantry assaults, break enemy lines, or hold key positions. While the Sanguozhi doesn't specifically title Pang De as a vanguard, his charges align with the role. What sets him apart from the rest, however, is his resolve to die fighting. His most famous episode was at the Battle of Fancheng, where he led assaults against a legendary foe with a larger army while serving under a new lord. Pang De's life was marked by constant fighting, shifting allegiances, fierce loyalty, and a tragic end. Pang De was from Liang Province, Nan'an Commandery, Huandao County. In his youth, he served as an assistant officer in the local commandery office. In 184, he likely would have heard alarming rumours of Beigong Boyu's mutiny in Jincheng, just north of Nan'an. Even though his homeland was not a rebel stronghold, it was close to the Liang Province rebellion's epicenter. As a result, Pang De's family might have faced economic hardship as the trade routes become disrupted. He may have seen Han farmers and merchants fleeing into nearby walled towns, stirring a mix of fear and opportunity in the young warrior. When the Liang Province rebellion broke out, Gengbi recruited from the locals, people known to be courageous and strong. Ma Teng volunteered as a foot soldier and quickly rose through the ranks, being promoted numerous times. His growing power in Liang Province made him a natural choice to join for young men like Pang De. Unlike the distant Han court or rebel leaders like Beigong Boyu, Ma Teng offered a local, tangible authority, food, pay, and a purpose. Pang De quickly distinguished himself in combat against the Xiang and Di tribes, whereafter Ma Teng promoted him to a colonel, marking the start of his military career. Ma Teng's cavalry promised protection for Han communities in places like Nan'an, but drama struck when Gengbi was killed in action by the Liang Province rebels. The rebellion fell apart after his death, with some rebel leaders, including Han Sui, shifting allegiances towards the Han court. It wasn't long until the court's power in Liang Province weakened and food dwindled. Ma Teng was also attacked by a local Han general. Not ready for the sudden betrayal, he allied with Han Sui to help consolidate power in the northwest. Pang De's duties for Ma Teng and Han Sui throughout this time would have likely been suppressing rebels, defending the frontier from Xiang raids, training, and recruiting. After Cao Cao had taken control over the Han court, he made peace with Ma Teng and Han Sui. Some years later, Zhong Yao had them pledge themselves by sending troops to help defeat Yuan Shao's remnant forces at Heidong Commandery, Guo Yuan and Gao Gan. Ma Teng responded to the call by sending reinforcements to Pingyang County led by his son Ma Chao and the courageous Pang De. In the chaotic environment of ancient warfare, identifying enemies during combat was often impossible due to armor, helmets, and the fast pace of fighting. Nevertheless, as the vanguard, Pang De was focused on locating, engaging, and defeating enemy commanders. Beheading an enemy would have been a reflexive act to ensure the kill was permanent and secure proof of a victory, especially for a significant opponent who appeared to be a commander or a notable warrior. In the midst of battle against Cao Cao's rivals, Pang De slew a commander without identifying who he was. Zhong Yao's men searched the battlefield after the battle and found Guo Yuan's headless body. When Pang De later rendezvoused with them, he threw the head on the floor, but Zhong Yao cried when he recognized the head. Pang De immediately apologized, but Zhong Yao dismissed his courtesy. Even though Guo Yuan was my nephew, he was still an enemy of the state. Why do you feel the need to apologize? For his contributions, Pang De was appointed as general of the household and made a village marquis. Later, when Zhang Baiqi rebelled in Hongnong, Pang De followed Ma Teng to suppress him, defeating Baiqi between the two Xiao passes. In every battle, he constantly penetrated enemy formations and repelled the enemy, his courage surpassing all others in Ma Teng's army. When Ma Teng was summoned east to Yi City with most of his family, he had no choice but to go, but was still hesitant about it. After he had been recalled by Cao Cao, Pang De remained behind with his son Ma Chao, Pang De's second lord. Ma Chao started a rebellion against Cao Cao in 211, leading the forces of Liang Province to do battle at Tong Pass. There is a record that before the battle, Ma Chao and Pang De broke into a stable which contained 100 horses. Pang De was seen taking the low-quality ones, while Ma Chao took the fine horses. People laughed at Pang De at first, but it's said that his horses rode the fastest during the battle at Tong Pass. After Cao Cao crushed the coalition, Ma Chao was forced to flee to the Xiang tribes for support, then sought shelter under Zhang Lu in Hanzhong Commandery. Pang De, Pang Ru, Ma Dai, and other loyal retainers accompanied him into Zhang Lu's ranks as subordinates. When Ma Chao later defected to Liu Bei, Pang De remained in Hanzhong, but he was separated from his cousin or brother Pang Ru, who went away with Ma Chao. At Hanzhong, Zhang Lu faced a devastating defeat against Cao Cao at the Battle of Yangping Pass. Subsequently, Pang De and Zhang Lu surrendered, marking Cao Cao as Pang De's fourth lord. Having already heard of Pang De's courage, he quickly recruited him, appointing him as general who establishes righteousness. In the lead-up to the Battle of Fancheng, Huo Yin and Wei Kai started rebellions in Wan Castle, reportedly enticing thousands of local mountain people to join Guan Yu's cause. Pang De and Cao Ren were sent to quell this dangerous distraction in order to maintain stability to counter Shou's advance. Pang De and Cao Ren crushed the rebellion and executed Huo Yin and Wei Kai, indicating a decisive victory. Pang De's personal involvement in slaying rebel leaders is alluded to by his later actions at Fancheng, where he slew the rebel leaders and main conspirators under Huo Yin and Wei Kai. After preventing the rebels from regrouping with Guan Yu, the duo garrisoned at Fan Castle to defend against Guan Yu's incoming invasion. As Ma Chao and Pang Ru both served under Liu Bei, many of Cao Cao's troops were suspicious of Pang De, so he often said, "I've received grace from the state that I'm willing to repay with my life in the name of righteousness. I'll personally slay Guan Yu. If I don't kill Guan Yu within this year, he'll kill me." Pang De set up a separate camp 10 li north of Fan and engaged Guan Yu in battle multiple times. His charges were a public demonstration of loyalty towards Cao Cao, but they were also exceptionally risky. Guan Yu could not defeat Pang De in battle, but still held firm control over the water routes and the siege of Fancheng. Pang De's courageous charges border on reckless, but were tempered by discipline and duty-driven sacrifice. He often rode a grey horse during the battles and became famous among the Shu troops, who nicknamed him White Horse General and greatly feared him. In one engagement, Pang De fired an arrow which hit Guan Yu's forehead or helmet, nearly killing him. At the time, heavy rains fell for more than 10 days, leading to the Han rivers next to Fan Castle eventually bursting its banks. Pang De retreated atop a dam with his remaining subordinates, but Guan Yu's marines sailed in close, surrounding, and started firing arrows at them. Pang De donned his armour, armed himself with a bow and arrows, and returned fire at the enemy with not a single shot missing its target. After Guan Yu's relentless attacks left his forces exhausting all their arrows, Pang De led his men into close combat. Demoralised, his colleagues Dong Cheng and Dong Chao and some others wanted to surrender, but Pang De arrested them all and executed them on the spot. Pang De told his subordinate Cheng He, "I have heard that a good general does not fear death to seek escape, and a steadfast warrior does not compromise integrity to survive. Today is my day to die." He continued fighting, increasingly fiercely, and with a spirit ever stronger. This suggests intense determination, and possibly anger after his subordinates' disloyalty. The battle atop the dike dragged on from morning until afternoon, as the water levels continued to rise, but by now, many of Pang De's men had surrendered, leaving him with only 3 men left. They boarded a small boat in an effort to escape, but the boat capsized and Pang De fell into the water. While grabbing onto the boat to stay afloat, he was surrounded and captured by Guan Yu's soldiers. Guan Yu asked him, "Pang Ru is serving in Hanzhong, why don't you come with me to meet him?" "Mean fellow, what is surrender? The King of Wei has thousands of troops and his might trembles the empire. Liu Bei is an inferior man with no hopes of resisting the King of Wei. I'd rather be a ghost of the state than a servant of my enemy." The frustrated Guan Yu then had no choice but to execute Pang De. Cao Cao was deeply grieved when he heard of Pang De's death and started shedding tears. When Cao Pi rose to the throne, he posthumously titled Pang De as Marquis Zhang, Robust Marquis. He ordered for an emissary to read the imperial edict out at Pang De's tomb, and granted his 4 sons as Marquis. Their names were vaguely recorded in history except for one, Pang Hui. It's said he resembled his father in personality, stoic, brave, and fiercely loyal. His most notable act was during the conquest of Shou in 263, where he joined in under Deng Ai. After Shou's surrender, Pang Hui sought vengeance for his father's execution by exterminating Guan Yu's family and descendants, a brutal act driven by personal vendetta.